Sanae, Jérôme, welcome. Maybe first, for those who do not know you well, so could you introduce briefly yourself, your role, potentially in the association or your day-to-day job, and just introduce yourself.
You wanna? Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Jérôme, I'm part of JP Morgan. Been working at JP Morgan for 3 years, but in Treasury for the last 22 years. I've got a big background around consulting, especially around corporate treasury transformation. And today at JP Morgan, basically, we are supporting our clients who are asking other questions than just, pure banking product and services. So technology is part of it.
And your role is to also help customers when it comes to technology, so you...
Yes, it can actually, because I'm also working with our product team. So what we try to do is to establish fluidity across all the systems. But we are a bank, we are not a treasury management system vendor, so we need to look broader than just the product from JP Morgan. So we reach a point whereby we need to speak with most of the vendors, either the Kiriba, the FIS, the Diapason, the SAP, and so forth. And we tend to invest a little bit more also in technology. Again, the point for us is just to make sure that clients got better experience with our product and services.
Thank you. Sanae, with you.
Thank you, François. Sanae Maamouri. I have been working since ever in the Treasury, 12 years, and 5 years in the automation of and the implementation of the Treasury system. Recently, I changed the job. I joined Invesco as Director Investment and Liquidity Operation, and I am board member of the ATEL.
So you are, let's say, managing the Treasury in an investment fund, let's say.
Exactly, yes.
So but at the end of the day, and we will have some other panelists having a similar job to yours, so it's a job of treasurers, like a corporate treasurers in the industry. Okay, very good. Thanks a lot. So again, so I think that we are one of the most, let's say, forward-looking session of this conference, because we try to project into the future. So the digital transformation is quite important, and I think that we are, let's say, maybe at a crossroad for a lot of companies. Although some of our members are still, let's say, upgrading their system, changing the treasury management system, or considering how could I improve the quality of the data, and moving from a function that is evolving quite fast, more from back office support role into a data-powered, real-time strategic nerve of the organization. So I would like to address a few points with you, and maybe we can start with you, Sanae. So in terms of digital, let's say, treasury digital transformation and innovation, so what does true digital transformation look like in Treasury today? Maybe in general, what you see and in your company.
For me, digital transformation is not only a tech upgrade. It is more moving from being a reactive cash manager to proactive cash manager. So it's a strategic shift. Mm-hmm. It's about being oriented into data-driven decision-making. So we are leveraging technology to gain real-time visibility, automate routine tasks, and enhance control. But the most important thing, I guess, for me is transforming the treasurer to a true business partner, forward-looking and aligned to the strategy of the company.
Okay, and just a short question about your new role. So you are supposed to set up a new infrastructure, so you are, let's say, revamping the
yes.
current IT structure.
I'm really in the very beginning, so yes,
okay.
I can share really a lot of.
But it's interesting to see that
yes.
a fund could, let's say, try to replicate what corporates and multinational companies are doing for years to be more efficient.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, interesting. Jérôme, what are the trends or the, let's say, big, let's say, innovation trends you see in your day-to-day contact with all the JP Morgan customers?
So I think before speaking about innovation, although it's inherent innovation, we are speaking with lots of clients who are migrating to SAP. So I think that's a big one. And I'm mentioning that because, again, when you're migrating to a new ERP, the point is to see what is under the bonnet as well. So we wouldn't see ERP as an obvious case for innovation, but it is because it's embedding AI functionalities, it's embedding much more automation, which is basically the common point to everything that treasurers are doing. For those who are not migrating to an ERP, and lucky for them, we can really see still some, I would say, trying to improve what they are currently doing. And the same line as Sanae, what they try to do is to basically be much more efficient. Mm-hmm. When it comes to efficiency, what does it take? It takes more automation. Is that automation going to be delivered by RPA, robotic process automation, or will it be delivered by API? It's another way of doing it.
Have you seen a certain strategy or road mapping? Because I have the impression that a lot of our members are on the road, they try to catch a train without knowing exactly the destination. So are they really prepared to have really a vision where they want to come?
Well, it's a question of preparation. It's also a question of willingness. To me, and back to the intro point you just made, actually, before, what is important is you don't deliver technology for the sake of getting technology. Sometimes you have no choice because everything is falling apart, it's becoming obsolete, and therefore you need a change. It's not the case of everyone. But the common denominator in all of this is you need to have a vision and a purpose for Treasury. So, and again, as Sanae was mentioning, is if you keep on being a cash custodian, which is absolutely fine, maybe there's less things that you need to do. But if you want to become a strategic advisor to the rest of the CFO suite, or if you want to partner much more deeper with the business, you basically need to have what you need to have, which is better visibility, real time, and so forth.
Okay. And Sanae, what about the manual processes? As I said, so we still have a lot of processes that are manual or semi-manual. So when you think about it, we have the paradox of sophistication. So we use more and more Excel despite the evolution of technology. So what is a sort of paradox? So how do you see that? Where do we have, in your view, headroom for, let's say, improving these semi-manual processes?
Honestly, we are still doing both. We still have both legacy processes to clean up, but the exciting part is to rethink how Treasury operates, and that's where really you start thinking to move toward a centralized structure, for example, to automate some of the processes, real-time data flows, as an example, and closer integration with the business. But I take in our case, and from in the beginning, for sure, you will still keep some, manual processes and work with both. So it's not about doing things, faster all the time, but it's as well about doing things, in a different way.
Jérôme, do you think that we are good enough in selling projects to the management? Because the idea is not to sell an IT project, so with a good return on investment, it's also to explain that we can change these processes and maybe it's a good opportunity to revamp your processes, isn't it?
No, you're right. And I think whatever project you do, what you try to achieve is indeed, as you mentioned, a return on something. So on investment can be a lighter, a cost-benefit analysis. But I think, as a former treasury person as well, I don't think I was equipped to be able to, first of all, speak upward. Second thing is building a strong business case. And thirdly, being able to articulate to the rest of the finance function as well. Because treasury doesn't want to be isolated, although we are really specific. But at the same time, we need the others to basically, sell and promote that idea to upward.
Yeah.
I would say, François, just regarding this part, the moment you demonstrate that what you are wanting to do as a project is supporting the long-term strategy of the company, then it's easier, with the management to sponsor the project.
No, to have a certain roadmap or a vision rather than just taking the project one after the other. So, and in the next 3 to 5 years, where do you think that we could evolve, and what will be the technologies you will contemplate or consider for your company or recommend for your customers? Although I saw that in terms of tokenization, JP Morgan is really ahead of a lot of factors.
Well, I think what you described around tokenization is one thing, and JP Morgan here is a producer, so we are manufacturing something. I'm not here to promote JP Morgan, by the way, but no, the role of JP Morgan in that case is basically, serving the financial institution, the corporate treasury market, as a producer of something, of a solution. What is currently happening on the market with digital currency, with, I would say, DLT infrastructure, it's basically a change. Wow. The last change that certainly some of us have been seeing in the past was, when we implemented SWIFT, for instance. That was a massive change. Well, actually, what we are seeing here with tokenization, DLT infrastructure, is basically an evolution. That's super exciting, I think, because and certainly some people in the audience have more than 20 years of experience, and therefore it's a big revolution. For those who are much more younger, it's an evolution. But for us, I think I would see it as a real revolution. Second point, I think what is going to change, and again, I don't want to create any crisis here, but we can see the rise of AI agent. So we spoke about AI and automation. We speak about now agent AI, and what you start to see as well is teams starting to build those agents. And I think this is really interesting, and at the back of what Sanae was mentioning around automation and so forth, it's exactly it. Is rather than looking at your processes, think about an input and an output and put an agent in the middle. And as François was mentioning in the introduction, don't be afraid about it, because it's about copyrighting the activity itself.
Yeah, to have a sort of assistant or virtual assistant. And it's why I prefer the augmented intelligence rather than artificial intelligence. And so it's not a full replacement. A question for you, Sanae. So is it scalability, ease of integration, data quality, or something more strategic? What do we need, and what is your vision?
So all of those are critical and important, but for me, it is about the strategic fit. A solution can be scalable and easy to integrate, but if it doesn't support us in the term of how we evolve or how we operate or support our long-term goals, it's not transformational. The tech has to move the needle and not just tick the box.
Okay. And what are the challenges, Jérôme? You have quite overview because of your, let's say, past job and your current job. So, but what are the challenges in implementing AI or these new technologies we are talking about? Do we have some issues with talent, with data or data lakes, with the quality of the data, with the mindset? What are the major challenges we should pay attention to?
Well, the major challenge is our belief, actually. I mean, lots of people think that, you can fetch treasury policies into ChatGPT-5 and then at the end you will get a brand new policy. Well, that doesn't work this way. The second thing is I tend to believe that with AI today, what we are lacking is a clear definition of use cases. People tend to basically being, I would say, lost between automation on one side and having more reaction on the other side and so forth. So to me, what is super important is you define your use case. You basically future-proof your business case as well, because what people usually don't take into consideration when they are building AI is the cost of AIs once you scale. And the third thing is, you're right, it's to basically get the right people, so the right pool of talents being educated on how to build, but also how to use and how they can improve it. Otherwise, it won't be sustainable in the future.
It's also something that you're doing at the bank, so try to hire new skills, new talent.
No, I need to be much more humble. We've got lots of superb qualified people, and actually I'm one of those internal users, but they are great people, so we are learning well.
But if I may comment, and I saw the recent press release about the tokenized deposit at JP Morgan and stable accounts, so I think that we both, the sell and buy side, could work and co-create together, because I think that we need to create the use cases of the future. And as I mentioned, ECB, recent talk with them, so they were talking with a lot of merchants. So what are you expecting? What should we do with the cash? Because it's a big issue for a lot of merchants. We should get rid of the cash. And what should we do with the new payment? Because any single additional new payment method for a merchant could be an issue because they need to make sure that they could collect or pay quite easily. And Sanae, just for you, maybe one of the last questions. So what are the benefits and also maybe the hidden cost of the 24/7 liquidity visibility and management? So do you see, if you project you in a couple of years, assuming that you have a full view and you can, let's say, place money even over a weekend, so what will be the challenge and what will be the benefit and hidden costs?
So the benefits are clear. So you have speed, control, responsiveness, but the hidden costs are real too. So system complexity to integrate, data overload, and the pressure to be always on. We need to, balance a bit governance and make sure our teams, they are not, overwhelmed by the pace.
And by the way, I guess you are organized by continent or region. So are you well integrated and working in silos? Or?
The idea today is really focus on the region I am in, and then it will be like a proof of concept for all the group. So yeah. To
be expanded to the other continent, because we still have the different time zone that could be an issue. And maybe last question for you, Jérôme. So what could be the tips or recommendation, what we should pay attention in the day-to-day life? Because a lot of corporates will say, okay, great, you come with good idea, good product, good solution, but what is there for me at the moment when we speak, or any recommendation in terms of, apart from the road mapping we mentioned, and I'm sure that you certainly recommend, what are your recommendations in terms of technologies?
Well, I think it's it's not really super tech-driven, but I tend to believe that the first thing is to get pragmatic. You need to focus on what is real and what is working already. So at least you're managing your expectation. If you want to use AI, make sure that you're identifying the right use cases. And use cases are not only for cash forecasting, validation of accounts and stuff. There's many other areas. And the last thing I would say is, why don't you dare to place one or two bets, actually, on what could work in the future as well? So if, like what Sanae explained, if your driver is to basically accelerate some processes or some closing, just look at what you can do there. If your plan is to basically, I don't know, enhance your FX hedging with your in-house bank, or if you want to amplify your in-house bank remit, worth having a look there. But the most important is get pragmatic, so you will get away from the marketing and focus on what is working.
I understand. Well, you also suggest to have some labs to try test with maybe some entities, some solution to see if it works, and maybe to, let's say, roll out.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on, and I think this is a big change over the last maybe 10 to 15 years, is that today you've got a bigger myriad of, I would say, tech and companies willing to co-create, collaborate as well, being much more hands-on as well on what they can do, what they cannot do as well, and I will strongly encourage to be curious. And I think this is also one of the points of this type of event, François, is for people to be curious about what the vendors are doing, what all those techs are doing, what is on their roadmap as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's time to close this session. I would like to stick to the timing, the stretched timing we have. So thanks a lot for your, let's say, comment. And again, you will be around. So if you have any question for our panelists, do not hesitate to talk to them. Thank you very much.